Jim Jones was never better than Nas. Jim Jones will never be better than Nas. And this is coming from somebody that's not a Nas fan. I love Dipset. I love the Diplomats. I love Bird Gang. But we not about to start rewriting history because Jim Jones got confidence.
They don't really know who Nas is. If he's 22, he's born in 03.
Not all of them, some of them.
I'm in the game still rapping at a high capacity. If Nas wants to smoke, come in the booth. I will rap
He don't want
circles
no
around.
smoke. He enjoying that 150 million, 200 million. He
Okay then, so then leave me alone while I'm on the field.
You was effing with him. He wasn't bothering you.
Jim Jones pulled up on Shannon Sharpe's podcast and let off a bombshell. Straight up said he's more influential than Nas. Not just still in the game, but more important to the whole culture. Period. But 50 Cent? He didn't clap back with a diss or a slick tweet. Nah, he went for the silent kill. He dropped an old dusty federal transcript on Instagram. No caption, no name, just a heavy vibe. And the streets caught on quick. Now the fans are out here like detectives. They're digging up wiretaps, old clips, hidden interviews, treating it like it's a full-blown crime doc. Meanwhile, Jim's in the gym yelling into the mic like he's hyping up for a UFC brawl. He's dropping diss bars like he's prepping for a Rikers reunion. But this ain't just about Nas anymore. It's way deeper than ego. This got 50 Cent's fingerprints all over it. Quiet but loud moves. A sneaky reminder that some folks in this game are untouchable, while others might have just poked the wrong beast. Jim thought he was flexing, but he might have just tripped an alarm bigger than music. There's a reason he dropped Nas's name. That man's name stirs things up every single time. And don't get it twisted. This ain't no new gen versus old head beef. This grudge been bubbling since back in 2002. That's when Nas went off on Hot 97 and out of nowhere took a shot at Cameron. Said Cam's album was straight trash. No explanation, just pure shade. That one jab lit a flame under Dipset, and Jim? He didn't hesitate. He dove into the drama head first. What followed was madness. Mixtape heat flying back and forth between Nas and Dipset. But Jim, he took it beyond rap. It got personal. He even said he'd smack the KO off Nas. And he kept that same wild energy in every bar he dropped, like We Fly High. This wasn't just beef, it turned into a full-on cultural clash. But here's the crazy twist. Jim used to look up to Nas. Just last year, he wasn't dissing him at all. It was all love and respect. That flipped fast. Everything changed when Jim slid through Fat Joe and Jadakiss's podcast, and Joe couldn't help but stir the pot. That convo could have just been a spicy soundbite, something to go viral and disappear. But nope, Jim wasn't done. He wanted all the smoke. Then out of nowhere, boom! Jim drops one of the boldest takes we've heard in hip-hop lately. He didn't just say he was still relevant. He said he's more influential than Nas. Yes, that Nas, the Queensbridge legend, the genius behind Illmatic, God's Son, King's Disease, the same Nas who's still selling out Madison Square Garden in his 50s. But Jim? He said it loud and proud. No stutter, no walk back. That interview didn't just stir the pot. It tossed the whole pot out the window, smashed it on the sidewalk, and set the building on fire before anyone could react. And before fans even finished processing that chaos, Jim popped up again, this time on Shannon Sharpe's nightcap. Might have even been sitting next to Chad Ochocinco Johnson too. Jim pulled up ready to stand 10 toes down on his claims. But instead of cooling off, he turned the heat all the way up. Shannon came in swinging, pressing Jim about his wild comments. But Jim? He doubled down. What he said had fans pausing, rewinding, replaying. Like, did he really just say that? Jim kept tossing jabs, bringing up that Dipset versus Nas war from back in the day. Then, out of nowhere, he flipped it again, said he's one of the flyest in the game, talked slick about how Nas was just some moody dude inspired by the movie Belly and stuff like that. Then he circled right back to the heat. Nas don't move the streets like I do, bro. You been knew that. And just to spice it up more, Jim started clowning Shannon's outfit live on air, like it turned into a roast battle out of nowhere. By now, Ochocinco was just kicking back, watching it unfold like it was a pay-per-view. Jim kept swinging, still bringing up Nas, asking who's really out here repping the culture in 2025. Then came the knockout moment. Jim accused Shannon of bringing him on the show just for clout. That hit a nerve. Shannon snapped back like, This the biggest podcast you ever been on, and the vibe, it flipped instantly. Shannon switched from cool host to straight up sparring partner. If Jim was hunting for smoke, Shannon was ready to take it to the gym right then and there. What started as a hip-hop convo turned into a full-blown flex match, and just when folks thought it couldn't get any pettier, boom. Fans dug up that old clip that flipped the whole vibe again. It wasn't just shade, it was ultimate disrespect. Turns out Jim didn't just get ignored by Nas back in the day. He got clowned clean off the stage. And now, in 2025, that same L is spinning back through the culture like it never left. But it didn't end with Nas staying quiet or Shannon turning the podcast into a mini flex match. Somebody else was watching from the shadows, and the second 50 Cent caught wind of Jim's wild, "I'm more influential than Nas" take. He didn't blink, not even once. He just laughed, then dipped into that bottomless bag of receipts he keeps on ice. Boom! He dropped a throwback with the caption, "Individual one." No names, no verses, just chaos. And anyone who really knows the game, they knew exactly what that meant. See, Individual One ain't just some internet nickname. That's a federal label pulled straight from a wiretap connected to the 691 case back in 2018. During that whole 9 Trey Bloods trial, prosecutors played a wire call where some voice was allegedly handing out orders to violate Tekashi for snitching on the set. The feds never said Jim's name, but the voice, they labeled it Individual One. The streets did the math, the blogs lit up, and the internet went full throttle. Jim's voice was never officially confirmed, and he was never hit with any charges. But once 50 threw that caption out there, it was like he dropped a grenade and just walked off smirking, letting the internet do the dirty work. The streets didn't forget, the blogs never forgot, and 50 Cent, man, he definitely didn't let that moment slide. So while Jim's been hopping on every mic, puffing up and trying to drag Nas into some lyrical smoke, 50 saw the perfect opening and pounced without hesitation. He jumped right back into his IG vault, pulled out a meme he once deleted in the heat, and hit repost like it was game time. The meme? So that's why they ain't pulling in. Just one line, and it set the rumors flying again. Flashback to 2019. The Shade Room posted a courtroom update straight from Tekashi's trial. A verified journalist claimed 6999 had name-dropped Jim Jones as a 9 Trey member. That alone stirred up the streets, but 50, he couldn't help himself. He slid into the comments section and dropped a line that had the app shaking. Then came that legendary clip of 50 looking, actually shook, saying, "I'm afraid for my life. Jimmy is gang gang." The internet lost it. People were cracking up like it was a comedy skit. But Jimmy, he was tight. You could almost see the frustration through the screen. But here's the real twist. This whole mess, it ain't even about Nas anymore. This ain't just rap beef or petty throwbacks. It's 50 Cent showing he can flex real power without ever dropping a single bar. While Jim's out here doing interviews, throwing shade, and making noise on podcasts, 50 just sits back, lets the past talk, and presses post. That's the difference. One's chasing moments. The other creates them without even saying a word. Jim saw every single one of 50's slick posts. All of them. And at first, he played it cool. He clapped back with a throwback from his Bird Gang days, dipped head to toe in pure Dipset energy. The caption? "Why you keep lying? LOL. I'm going back to sleep. Free Mel Matrix till it's reversed." That line wasn't random. It was a shout out to his longtime homie doing over 11 years on a racketeering case, and a jab at 50, low-key calling him out for chasing clout with fake drama. But Jim wasn't about to let it slide with just that. He fired off one more warning shot, a fresh Jim Flex photo, complete with another spicy caption aimed right at Shannon Sharpe. Somebody tell Shannon Sharpe, don't start ducking now. Jim wasn't letting it go. He came at Shannon full force, loud and clear. "You gonna talk like a podcaster or walk it like you talk? 'Cause my sneakers tied." He wanted smoke. He called Shannon out in public because Shannon challenged him in public, and Jim wasn't letting that challenge slide into silence. He even tossed in a message for Ocho Cinco, saying Shannon didn't want the heat in front of everyone, but was okay settling it in private. Jim wasn't buying it. He snapped back. As long as you the witness, we don't duck no challenges. Size don't matter where I'm from. Run it. Meanwhile, 50 was still in the cut, trolling from the shadows like a master puppet master, watching Jim go off while quietly stirring the pot. And just to crank the heat even more, Jim threw out a hot take that had folks buzzing. If you 40 and up arguing with me about Nas, you already lost. Then he flexed again, brushing off critics like flies. Y'all fell for the bait. My streams go up every time Mel goes viral. I'm teaching you older artists how to market in 2025. You stuck in yesterday, mad at how the game runs today. Tighten up. And to top it all off, he dropped the mic with this closer. I said what I said. P.S. I'll wrap circles around any artist from my era, whoever dares step into the booth. Just make sure you bring a check, cause this game ain't free. We outside, we in the field. That was Jim's message, loud, unfiltered, and cocky with confidence. He's saying he ain't slowing down. He's hustling daily, still proving he's a force out here. But while all that was going down, Nas stayed dead silent. Not a word, not a whisper. Jim's tossing shots, throwing challenges, trying to drag Nas into the ring, but let's keep it real. If Nas ever decided to respond, it wouldn't be a back and forth. It'd be a lyrical execution. Fans already see the game. They know. Jim's out here baiting, but Nas, he's still in the shadows. And 50, he's still playing chess, pulling strings while the whole scene spirals. And just when it looked like things might finally settle, fans flipped it again. They dove back into old footage, dusty interviews, and shady bars. The internet went archive hunting, asking some tough, real questions. Why was Jim never pulled into that case? Why did 50 throw Individual 1 back into the mix now? And most of all, what's Nas really thinking behind that silence? Cause let's be clear, Nas staying quiet ain't weakness. That's strategy. Every time Jim rants, it just makes Nas look stronger, without Nas having to lift a finger. And 50, he's letting it all play out, tossing in quiet bombs while the chaos builds. Meanwhile, Jim is doubling down with every flex, every post, every track, desperately trying to prove he's still that guy. But now fans are starting to ask the real question, is this confidence? Or is Jim just out here fighting off fading relevance? This ain't about rap battles anymore, it's deeper. This is about respect, about legacy, about who really runs the streets and who's just making noise online.